Hey, this is C&D Channel. I'm Chris. This is MMA for you. I'm going to be doing my predictions for UFC 163 Aldo versus Jung, which happens on August 3rd. As far as the fight card goes, it's a good card. It's plagued with injuries. I mean, Damian Maia was supposed to fight Josh Koscheck on this card, and that fight is now scratched off. Jose Aldo was supposed to fight Anthony Showtime Pettis, and now it's the Korean Zombie versus Jose Aldo. Cesar Mutante was supposed to fight Clint Hester. Clint Hester is now off. Now Thiago Santos is fighting. Not to be mistaken for Big Monster Santos. John Lineker was supposed to fight Phil Harris. Now he's fighting Jose Maria Tome. What else? Ian McCall was... No, I think that was right, if I'm not mistaken. It's supposed to be the UFC debut of Robert Drysdale against Ednaldo Oliveira. Ednaldo is now going to fight Francimar Barroso. So yeah, definitely card played by injuries. Thankfully, it still has a very strong main event. Co-main is a fight that's strong enough to be a co-main. It's not a great co-main. Phil Davis versus Leo Machida. Well, you know what? Ranking-wise, they're both in the top 10. I don't like the stylistic matchup there, to be honest with you. Otherwise, yeah, I get it. It's an acceptable co-main. So yeah, let's get started. Okay. In the main event, we have UFC featherweight champion Jose Aldo versus the Korean Zombie Sung Jung. Man, it's a good fight. The thing with Jung is that he's on a 3-fight win streak, 26 years old, 13-3 record, 3 wins by KO or TKO, 8 wins by sub. One of the biggest problems, though, is he last fought in May 2012 against Dustin Poirier. He's something of a brawler, but he's actually been improving his stand-up, a little more technical. You still see some brawling here, but he's always pushing forward, super aggressive, really good chin, and is super resilient. And his ground game is extremely underrated. He has a very, he has that Darce choke over Dustin Poirier, the twister on Leonard Garcia, and other submission victories to his credit. He has a very strong ground game. His cardio, though, in 5 rounds, when he fought Poirier, didn't look that great. He's fading in the 4th, but so is Poirier. And his overall defense, though, just isn't very good. But otherwise, he makes up for it with aggression, skill on the ground, hits pretty hard actually, and smart comic, Jose Aldo, 22-1 record, 13 wins by KO TKO, 2 wins by sub, 26 years old, 15-fight win streak, trains out of Nobu now. He has this, most well known for his leg kicks. His overall Muay Thai is really good. He has strong knees as well. His punches, his boxing. Actually, his boxing is his weakest component in his stand-up. It's not bad per se, but it's not great. Just the hands. It's not bad either. Because he makes up for it for being very accurate and having very good timing. His overall defense, too, is pretty good. He's a guy you generally don't see get hit clean, except in the later rounds. One of the biggest problems with him, though, is he seems to cruise when he's ahead on the scorecards. Saw it against Rhea Faber, saw it against Mark Honick, and even Frankie Edgar. It's like he'll win 3 rounds, and he kind of cruises the last 2, He's big for a weight class. Even makes trouble making weight. Joe Rogan always harps on it to a point of exaggeration, to a point of you don't know his cardio because his weight cut's so strong, And he always says that he's fading, even though he's kind of fading, but not as much as Rogan would say, makes it out to be. I don't think he's commentating here anyways. I think it's Brian Stan. Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt, and a consensus top 5 pound-for-pound MMA fighter. I love the Great Zombie, but I gotta go with Jose Aldo to win this one. Okay, next fight after that, we have Phil Davis versus Lyoto Machida. Davis, good fighter, he's on a 2-fight win streak. He's 28 years old, training out of Alliance. Strong wrestling, good top control. His Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu solid, and his stand-up is improving. You saw that in the Anthony Frost fight. The only problem is, he doesn't have fast hands. He's not a quick puncher. Machida, 19-3 record with 7 wins by KO or TKO, 2 wins by sub. He's 35 on a 2-fight win streak. He's a former UFC light heavyweight champion. He has karate style stand up, strong takedown defense. He's very accurate with his strikes, and his timing's really good. His footwork's solid. His overall defense is really good. His offensive takedown ability actually isn't that bad either. He has some good trip takedowns, and he's Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt. I think stylistically, this is a bad matchup for Phil Davis. I don't think he'll have a hard time getting the fight to the ground. It's hard to close distance on Machida with his footwork. And the other thing is, Machida probably pick him apart in the stand-up. A couple leg kicks here, counter lefts, in the stand-up and whatnot. I see Lyoto Machida taking this one. Okay, next fight after that. The returning Thales Leites fights Tom Kong Watson. You definitely have a stylistic, not mismatch, but different stylistic matchup here, as Thales Leites is mainly a Brazilian He mainly uses his grappling in this fight. He's a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt, trains out of Novo União, 3-fight win streak. Out of his 20 wins, 13 of them are by submission. Really strong off his back. He actually has a surprisingly good chin too, but his striking has a little more to be desired. It's below average. Tom Watson, out of his 16 wins, 8 of them are by KO or TKO. His 2 losses by sub. He's 30 years old. He trains out of Jackson's. Something of a brawler, with a really strong chin and heavy hands. His grappling is the weakest part of his, repertoire, but it is improving. Stylistically, I gotta favor Leites here. I think he'll be able to get the fight to the ground, possibly even get the submission here. The only problem is you kind of know what each guy is going to do to the other guy. So it's one of those whose game is going to win. Is Thales going to be able to take Watson down, or is Watson, knowing that, going to work on his takedown defense, be able to defend takedowns, and beat Leites up in the stand-up? I'm counting that Leites will be able to take the fight to the ground, and if he doesn't get the submission, get the decision. Okay, next fight after that, we have Cezar Mutante Ferreira versus Thiago Mareta Santos. Santos has an 8-1 record, 4 wins by KO or TKO, 1 win by sub, 29 years old. First fight in the UFC. Cezar Mutante, 5-2 record, 3 wins by KO or TKO, 1 win by sub. He's 28 years old. He's training at the Black Zillions now. Strong kicks, has a capoeira background. Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu solid. He hasn't fought since that one UFC where he fought Sergio Moraes. It's been a long time since he's fought. So he's been, last fought June of 2012. So it's been a year layoff for him versus a guy having his first fight in the UFC. So it's going to be really interesting, actually. See how this fight goes. I gotta go with Cezar Ferreira to win this one. He's fought. I don't think he'll have the octagon jitters, and he is a solid fighter. Like I said, strong kicks with that capoeira background, and the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu is solid. So I'll go Cezar Mutante to win this one. Okay, and the final fight of the main card, we have John Lineker versus Jose Maria Tome. If I'm not mistaken, I could be wrong here. I think Tome fought in Tough Brazil 2, actually. He has a 33-3 record with 2 no contests. 15 wins by KO or TKO. 13 wins by sub. All 3 of the losses have been by submission. He has a hell of a record, actually. And 31 years old, 12-fight win streak. Trains at the Run of a Cow fight team. It's his first fight in the UFC. Lineker, this guy has been looking like one of the more impressive and more fun flyweights out there. 21-6 record. 9 wins by KO or TKO. 3 wins by sub. He also has 3 losses by submission. He's 23 years old. 2-fight win streak. He's a brawler with heavy hands, but he uses combinations. He uses a lot of body punches. Always pushing forward. Really good chin. Super aggressive guy. His grappling actually is improving. To be honest, it's really between Lineker and like Joseph Benavidez to see who's going to be the next challenger for Demetrius Johnson. I expect Lineker to get the win here. I think he'll beat Tome in the stand-up, which should be pretty fun, actually. Lineker's fights, lots of fun to watch. One of the few, besides like John Dodson, one of the few heavy-handed flyweights out there. Get on to the prelims. We have Vinny Magalhães versus Anthony Parash. You kind of have 2 guys that are very similar to each other. Age-wise, though, Anthony Parash is 41 years old. He's a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt. He's a finisher, though, man. You know, he has a 13-7 record with 4 wins by KO or TKO and 9 wins by sub. The only thing is he has 5 losses by KO or TKO as well. His striking's not great, but he uses his striking to get his takedowns. And the thing is, he's really relentless about getting takedowns. The only problem is he's going up against Vinny Magalhães. 10-6 record with 1 no contest. 2 wins by KO or TKO, 8 wins by sub. 28 years old. He's training out of Syndicate MMA. He's one of the top Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu practitioners in the world. And he is a finisher, actually. All his wins are also by finish. Now, one thing about him, though, he's one of those guys that doesn't react well to getting hit. His stand-up is average at best. His cardio is not great. But stylistically, he is a better Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu practitioner than Parash. So it's, they're kind of like the same guy, pretty much, except Vinny is just in my opinion, a better Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu practitioner. Parash, a little more relentless about getting takedowns. He's not a guy with like super bad cardio, whereas Vinny has shown his cardio is pretty weak, to be honest with you. Nonetheless, I think Vinny Magalhães is going to win this one. And next fight after that, we have a women's fight as Shayla Gaff fights Amanda Nunes. Should be a fun fight as both of them are strikers. Gaff, 10-5 record with 1 draw. 6 wins by KO TKO, 4 wins by sub. She also has 2 losses by sub. Only 23 years old. He's just good Muay Thai. Super aggressive. Always pushes forward. Not that great on the ground, though. And then she is small for the weight class. She usually fights at 125. But she's fighting at 135. Whereas Amanda Nunes has fought and beaten like Julia Budd. Knocked her out at 145. And she fights at 135. She's like a natural 135er. Nunes, 7-3 record with 6 wins by KO TKO, 1 win by sub. She's 25 years old. Solid boxing, heavy hands. Also aggressive, always pushing forward. She's kind of weak on the ground. Cardio's not that great either. Regardless, Amanda Nunes is a little bigger. Bit more proven, too. Gotta go with Amanda Nunes to win this one. Next fight after that, Neil Magny fights Sergio Moraes. Magny, 8-1 record, 2 wins by KO TKO, 2 wins by sub. He's 25 years old on a 2-fight win streak. With Moraes, 7-2 record with 6 of those wins being by decision. His other win by submission. 6 wins by submission, 1 win by decision. 30 years old, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt. Strong transitions on the ground. Striking below average, but he'll go for it, man. This guy will like sling haymakers. You saw against like Cezar Ferreira. Really good when he takes a guy's back. Maurice is a specialist. He's mainly a ground specialist. And I think he'll be able to get the fight to the ground and win the fight down there. So I'll go with Sergio Maurice to win this one. Okay, next fight after that, we have Uncle Creepy Ian McCall trying to get his first win in the UFC as he fights Lyoto Santos. Santos actually has a lot of fights under his belt. 27-7 record with 1 draw and 1 no contest. 12 wins by KO TKO, 6 wins by sub. 3 of his losses are by KO TKO. He's 32 years old. Last I believe it was a guy that got beat up by Yuri Alcantara, but that guy's super good. So, no shame in losing to that guy, really. Ian McCall, 11-4 record with 1 draw, 4 wins by KO TKO, 3 wins by sub. He's 28 years old. He's actually on a 2-fight losing streak. Last loss to Joseph Benavidez, before that to Demetrius Johnson. He trains out of Team Oyama. Stand-up is solid. His wrestling is really good as well. I gotta go with Uncle Creepy Ian McCall to win this one. Okay, on to Facebook prelims. Really don't know why this fight's happening. Really strange. Josh Clopton fights Ronnie Yaya. The thing that makes it strange is that Ronnie Yaya is 18-7 record with 15 of those wins by submission. 2 losses by KO TKO. 28 years old, 2-fight win streak. Trains at Constrictor Team. Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt. Relentless about getting takedowns. His wrestling's been improving. His striking's still kind of weak. Thing with Clopton, doesn't have that many fights. 6-1 record, 1 draw. 2 wins by sub, 4 wins by decision. 31 years old, trains out of the Scrap Pack. But he also last fought of December of 2011. Yaya's coming off that win over a Japanese guy. Forgot his name at the moment. I'm not going to remember his name. But, Yaya's looking really good as of late. His style now is relentlessly getting those takedowns, trying to pass guard, really using his top control. He's looking really good as late, and I think Yaya beats Clopton here. Okay, next fight out there, Viscardi Andrade fights Bristol Morande. Not mistaken, I think Andrade, I think he fought out of Tough Brazil too, but I'm not too sure. Bristol Morande, 12-8 record, 3 wins by KO TKO, 5 wins by sub. He's on a 2-fight losing streak, 31 years old. He has 3 losses by KO TKO, 3 losses by sub. He's training out of Syndicate MMA. He's one of those guys that's just very kind of like average, Striking's kind of average, wrestling's average, Not necessarily bad anywhere, but not great anywhere either. With Andrade's 14-5 record, 4 wins by KO TKO, 4 wins by sub on a 6-fight win streak. Trains out of Gracie Fusion. And it's his first fight in the UFC. I'll go with this unknown guy here, Viscardi Andrade, to win this one. And finally, Francimar Bodal Barroso fights Ednaldo Oliveira. If I'm not mistaken, Ednaldo is actually one of the main training partners of Junior Dos Santos. 13-1 record with 1 draw, 1 no contest. 8 wins by KO TKO. 2 wins by sub. He's 29 years old. Good boxing. His last fought in January of 2012. I believe that was against Gonzaga, if I'm not mistaken, and lost him. It's his first cut to 205 pounds. At Barroso, it's his first fight in the UFC. 15-3 record, 8 wins by KO TKO, 6 wins by sub. It's pretty much a finisher, Only one of his wins gone to decision. Oh, actually, yeah, one of his fights. Only 1 fight's gone to decision. As 3 of his losses are by KO TKO. He is on a 3-fight win streak. Training out of Nova União. The guy who has his first fight in the UFC versus the guy that's coming off a really long layoff. You know what? I'll go with this young this prospect here, Francois Badal Barroso, to win this one. Okay, to recap, I got Jose Aldo beating the Korean Zombie Sung Jung, Lyoto Machida beating Phil Davis, Thales Leites beating Tom Watson, Cezar Ferreira beating Thiago Santos, and John Lineker beating Jose Maria Tome. On the FX prelims, I have Vinny Magalhaes beating Anthony Farash, Amanda Nunes beating Sheila Gaff, Sergio Moraes over Neil Magny, and Uncle Creepy Ian McCall beating Eliud Santos. On the Facebook prelims, I got Ronnie Yaya beating Josh Clofton, Biscardi Andrade beating Bristol Marunde, and Fensamar Badal Barroso over Arnaldo Oliveira. So that's it for my predictions for UFC 163. If you have any comments, just leave them below. That's it for MMA for you. Thank you guys very much.